obviously I care about what's happening in Palestine, but these are just outrageous.
Obviously, what we've been seeing, I guess, to sum this all up at the moment, been seeing it throughout the news. A lot of these pro-Palestine protesters, and I'm going to leave that in quotations, are taking up space and create encampments at a lot of universities across the country, across North America. And NASCAD, there's nothing to occupy at NASCAD because we don't actually, they don't have a lawn. They just have buildings that are like literally right in the city center, essentially. So there's nothing to occupy. But that didn't stop the students from making their demands. And I'll say, quote unquote, students, because I don't believe it's actually students who are really driving this. But here's what they demand, and this is what the NASCAD students have demanded of the school. Number one, public disclosure of the entirety of the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design University investment portfolio. Number two, immediate divestment from all weapons manufacturing, military supplying, and companies operating in Israel or the occupied Palestinian territories. Number three, in response to emails sent from Dr. Shannon regarding the rights and responsibilities for students and faculty to speak truth to power and exercise their academic freedom, an apology from and the resignation of the president of the NASCAD University, Dr. Peggy Shannon. 4, anti-oppression training for all faculty and administration at NASCAD, watch out Josh, focusing particularly on queerness, ingenuity, I can't pronounce it. Gee. And
that training.
Yeah, apparently. And anti-colonialism. Number 5, free tuition for all students. Let's go. Number 6, free housing for all students. Okay. Number 7, the implementation of a Palestinian art history course. All right. Number 8, a scholarship offering free tuition and housing for one student currently living in Palestine. Number 9, that the NASCAD Board of Governors be made up entirely of students, faculty, and staff with at least 50% plus one seat on the board being held by students. Number 10, that NASCAD University moves all its banking to a credit union. Interesting. Number 11, the immediate breaking of the lease of NASCAD with the Port Authority regarding NASCAD's port campus and a commitment of no financial dealings with the Port Authority going forward. And last but not least, number 12, sweet 12, that all funds divested through the process of realizing the above demands be reinvested in the rebuilding of universities from the Gaza Strip that have been destroyed. Free Palestine.
So the worst part is, it's like reading this. I read the first one. I was like, okay, I like transparency in investing. Then the second one where it was like divesting of weapons, manufacturing, and militarization. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Like you're in art school, like you don't want your investments being used for war. Cool, I'm down with that. Then they're like, we need an apology and the resignation of the president. I was like, well, that's not going to win you any seats. Okay. And then the next one was like mandatory sensitivity training for everyone. I was like, okay, so we've gotten outrageous. And then it just keeps going and going. And then it was funny because one of the things too, where they were saying free tuition, free housing for all students, but then also like later on being like, there needs to be a scholarship set up for Palestinian students.
Yeah,
and I was
just
like,
one of them though.
Yeah, but I was like, but if it's free for all students, like why would you need the scholarship? And also, what's up with the Port Authority? Do you know anything more about that than I do?
Just as that it's connected to the government.
Oh my God.
That's all.
Anyway, I was just like, the Port Authority's been doing like a lot of good work down on the waterfront, so I don't understand what the beef is with them. But then, like using the credit union, I'm like, cool, that sounds like a good idea. Like
Yeah.
Credit unions, good way to go. Banks are evil, so
Keep it local.
Yep, I'm down with that. And then all the funds that are going to be divested, as if that there's going to be just money flowing, right? Like, are you guys stupid? Do you realize how much universities actually receive from governments to keep the lights on? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off this conversation by saying I do not represent the views or feelings of NASCAD as an entity. These are completely my own. And after you hear them, you'll realize they're definitely my own. This stuff's a joke. This is clearly a joke. This is like, I'm so over all these protests in general at this point because they've shown their true colors. We talked about a couple weeks ago. When you're advocating for the death of a whole group of people, you lost me. And what I've been seeing is, again, pro-Palestine, like BLM was used in 2020. There's a group of people, and I will say it because they have labeled themselves as such, is there's literally communists using this as a guise to push communist ideals. That's why none of this really applies to NASCAD much. A lot of it just random demands of that make no sense. And you can tell because that has nothing to do with it. And you can tell people are involved in this that don't really know what they're talking about. And I see that clear as day. We already have people from the group of communists here in the city that already do not like us and continue to harass us on all of our socials here and there. And we're definitely not going to win any fans with this, but this is what's starting to happen. We're seeing this at U of T, now seeing it here in Halifax and NASCAD. The fact that you're going to divest all things shows that, again, there's no research. Did you all forget that back in 2011, NASCAD almost got bought out by Dow because they were running out of cash? Did you know they were still being propped up by debt since? They haven't been making any money. These guys it's a miracle they're even still operating. They're still debating on what real estate they're going to sell of theirs so that they can survive going forward. They have no money, kind of like their students. So that's where things are at right now. So all these demands are a joke, and they're clear as day for what they are. These people are not operating in good faith. They don't really care about Palestine. They care about pushing a certain ideology. And I honestly am sad for the people of Gaza because their cause is just being absolutely trampled all over through the process.
Well, the reason why we can say that with evidence is the fact that offering free housing and free tuition, not to the Palestinian person. Remember, they get a scholarship. One. Mm-hmm. What does free housing and free tuition do for any of the people in the Gaza Strip? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is completely self-interested. And this is exactly what you're saying. There's just things shoehorned in every which way. It was like a fever dream of a list of demands. And this is what I'm noticing, even with other protests across the country too. It's just it is this confluence of weird ideology happening under, like you said, the guise of this is to support the Gaza Strip and the people who are currently living through a war. But it has nothing to do with that at all. And it's if you actually were caring about those people, maybe you would be reaching out to whatever support networks are trying to get aid through. You'd be working with government. You'd be lobbying government to actually help get aid through right now where it's not. You know what I mean? You'd be doing things that are humanitarian in nature. You wouldn't be asking for free tuition and free housing for yourself. So talk about self-interested.
And you'd also be speaking about the fact that Hamas is seizing any aid that's going through.
There you go.
And those who are just listening, that's just me making twitchy faces right now because it's freaking ridiculous. These people are not serious. They do not care. They care about causing more chaos here in our country and causing chaos here in the West. That's what this is about. This is what it's been about since day one. And I'll firmly say that right now. And this is disgusting. This is disgusting what's happening. Using something as horrific as war that's happening across the world to use to push your ideas and pressure government officials is disgusting. You are literally, we've been talking about women and children and all this. You are using the deaths of innocent women and children for your own cause, and I won't have it, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate because I don't think everybody's in that camp, because you get a lot of good people that are caught up in a narrative that they don't even realize that they're a part of, because people are looking at the images coming out of Gaza, and they're looking at the death toll that's rising and the horrific horror stories that you're hearing, and people's hearts are going out to them, and they want to feel like they're doing something. And unfortunately, what I'm looking at is I'm going, this ain't it, unfortunately, right? That's what it comes down to. Nobody wants a war. Nobody wants to see people suffering. If it was my children that were, scared for their life and that bombs were raining down on them, I too would be horrified and be in the same situation. But the problem is that this isn't it. I don't know how any other way to say it, that this is not how you help people. And this is, in fact, like you said, just co-opting a whole other idea. And by supporting it and propping it up, even with the best of intentions, you're actually contributing to the cause, which is unfortunate.
That was electric, wasn't it? Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you did too. If you did, you can check this video out here to the top right corner right near my window. Get over. There it is. There it is right there. And if you liked that, you can also check this one right here. We love you. Have a good one. Peace out.